Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 157. Iliya here, and as always I'm really happy to welcome you on the Trading Fanatic channel. You very well know what we're gonna do in this video. We're gonna have a look at the market, what it did this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and most importantly I'm gonna share with you my forecast for the upcoming week. This week was NFP and we had some pretty important news releases which made the market a little bit tricky. I have an overall profitable week. It's not a lot, but it's a great start of my month. I'm gonna share with you quickly my trades as well on Euro USD. I had tons of missed trades, right? And overall it was a little bit hard to read price because we were kind of breaking and then breaking back in, kind of stuck in its overall 4-hourly range. But I do believe right now, after NFP is out, right now we can definitely start moving. So we're gonna have a look at everything as usual and hopefully have some gems throughout the video. If you're new to this channel, it is all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and from September on, every single week I'm going to be sharing an educational piece of content. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit the notification bell in order not to miss what is incoming. Currently I'm working on a big revamp for my private program, which is my main focus, and after this is done I'm gonna spend more time creating content for YouTube, Instagram, and all of that great stuff. So hopefully you're excited. And without further ado, let's head into the video. As always, we're gonna get started with a Dixie, but before we do that, shout out to my amazing broker, Forex.com. It is great, it has all the instruments, stocks, Forex, cryptos, precious metals, and all of that great stuff with some great spreads as well. And they have two types of accounts, but I recommend you open their eco account. You're going to pay a little bit of commission, but every single lot that you accumulate will go towards planting 10 trees. They are the first green broker to introduce this initiative, so go check them out. Link is down in the description. Have a look at their website, have a look how many trees they're planted so far. They're following on their process right there. So let's open our eco accounts and start trading. All right. So Dixie played out as forecasted from the last weekly outlook and setups. We pulled back towards 105. As we can see, we just kind of pinged it a little bit. But more importantly, we were targeting around filling this wick right there, which we already did from last week, right? But right now we pulled back deeply to the downside, almost tapping 105. We have a daily zone right there, which we're going to explore on the daily. Right, and right now it looks like we're closing bullish with a nice pin bar on the bottom. So this signifies to me still bullishness, right? So I'm still bullish on the dollar, and I'm quite curious to see whether we're gonna have a nice continuation higher. Of course, if we do have a potential continuation, the next target will be potentially 109, right? So let's see if we can have that bullish continuation. In terms of the daily, it is just starting to shift, and what I really like, so pretty much the zone that we identified from the last outlook. I don't believe I have drawn like a little zone like this. It's probably something like that, right? So we tapped perfectly, filling 50%. And we had on the 2nd of August, which is Tuesday, a massive reaction from this zone, which kind of triggered a lot of buyers into the market. Wednesday consolidated, Thursday sold off a little bit, potentially tried to make a new lower low, but then on Friday we have this bullish candle that kind of breaks, which is right now substructure or minor structure on the daily, right? Because where is our main structure on the daily? Well, it's this one, right? This is the pullback that later went on and made a new lower low. So technically on the daily, we are still bearish, right? But usually for the daily to shift, it takes a lot of time. What I like on the daily is that, of course, we had this supply, right? So the market came into supply, took a little bit of liquidity above this little candle high right here, reacted with a very nice bearish engulfing candle. We can see also evening star formation. So the sellers were there, but we can see, boom, they all get stopped out. So of course, there are two situations in this one. We're either currently liquidity grabbing above this high in order to flush to the downside, or are we just reversing, right? Breaking above supply so demand can take control. And if I just quickly go to my favorite time frame, which is the 4H. So if you remember what I was actually telling you, is that we technically had a 4-hourly shift right here. So there was the pullback candles, lower low, then we actually shifted from right here, right? This is our trend change. But then of course, I was looking at that wick right there for supply to potentially hold. We went inside, we reacted, and then we broke it, right? Which is first signs again of supply failing. Then we potentially are right now reacting from levels like this, right? But then what the market does, it pulls back very nicely towards where? Towards the 50%, just dipped below 50%, responded, and right now we're pushing up. And can we say that this is a higher high? Well, not really, because it just kind of wicked above, right? But pretty much this signifies that right now the flow is turning bullish, right? So I'm going to be mindful to see whether the Dixie is going to continue higher, right? So I really like the pattern that accumulated right there. So we had that little slowdown, then we have this beautiful buy into the zone, then an immediate sell-off. So a lot of sellers entered from this supply region, and as I told you, there were some perfectly equal highs right there to act as liquidity. So a lot of sellers, but again, what I really like is that they couldn't prevail and actually push the market down to make a new lower low, which gives me the sign that potentially this right there, this little demand zone that we can refine to the 4H, and we can see that it perfectly tapped right there, is actually holding. Okay, so what I'm going to be looking for the upcoming week, right, is to see if the market is going to retain this bullish flow, right? So we can, for example, have a little pullback. The market, if the market continues on and keeps making new higher highs, then I'm going to be longing, right? And then of course, every single high that we see on the left will potentially become a liquidity target, right? So this is where we can potentially start attacking, okay, and taking profit. So let's see, I don't want to say anything so far. We have a very slow week ahead of us. If I just quickly flip to the economic calendar, Monday looks pretty slow, right? Nothing important. Tuesday looks pretty slow, nothing important as well. Wednesday, we have a little bit of red right there, CPI, which is important during US session. Thursday, dead, right? We have initial jobless claim, continuing jobless claims right there, which is also good. And Friday, it's some GBP news right there. And yeah, some import export consumer sentiment right there. So you can see there is nothing that important into the upcoming week. So this is usually good because we don't have to worry about news, so we can only focus on trading. So this is my current outlook on the Dixie. I am bullish right now. I really like how the flow right now is turning to bullish. I definitely do have my 4-hourly shift to the upside, so I don't need the daily shift, right? So what I'm going to be looking for is for the market to start with a little bit of bearishness, make a higher low, take a long, target the highs. Or if we just kind of stop right there and keep pushing higher, then I'm going to try to just follow the higher highs. And then of course, targeting those levels as targets. So bullish Dixie, let's see if the other pairs are supporting this. All right, let's have a look at Euro USD. So starting from the weekly time frame, I do like the weekly candle. So of course, we know that overall Euro USD is just plummeting to the downside in a massive downtrend. We had those 3 massive consecutive bearish weeks, and right now the market has been pulling back for 1, 2, 3 candles as well, right? So what I like about this week's candle is that it broke the mother candle's high, but it rejected, right? So usually we can, 2 things can happen with inside bars. We're either just gonna break out and continue with the overall direction, or we're just going to wick above it and reject, right? So we are currently back into this range, right? Because what an inside bar signifies is a range on a lower time frame. So we just wicked above the range and we came back in, okay? Overall market is bearish. Again, it depends on how you draw your leg. If you draw it from here, 50% is not tagged in yet. So we have still some upside to go, right? If you tap it from here, 50% was just tagged, right? So slightly bit of a confusion even for me, right? Because if you also ask the question, what actually caused the break of structure? Well, it's this pullback lower high, right? But this is also the highest point right there. So of course, it's 50-50. We still have a chance to push into the highs, to tap inside 104 and then flush. But of course, if the Dixie actually turns really bullish, then this one has a very high chance of continuing to flush to the downside. So let's see. It is a very major level for the euro. This is why it's kind of holding right now. We're sitting at 1.0, right? This is just the best round number you can have on the euro, right? So probably a lot of buyers are coming in from that level. But then transferring onto the daily, you can see what we have, right? Since how many 12 bars, which is kind of 12 daily candles, we're just kind of ranging, right? We first tried to push down, then we pushed up again, grabbed the liquidity above, bearish engulf, then it tries to pull back again, and right now we're selling off once again. So I really need to see that confirmed flow. I really need to see that this market is bearish because, again, it has been giving me a hard time to determine the direction. But of course, I keep reminding myself when I go to my 4-hourly time frame that we are trading in an overall range. And if I just take this, I'm going to take the fib if I just take the fib from the highest to the lowest point, we can see that the market is just kind of tagging the extremes of the range, right? You can see when we're around 50%, the market tends to kind of consolidate, not do anything. We go above the 30, we sell off. We go above the 30 or the 70. You can see those two lines right there. Go below, buy. Go above, sell. Go below, buy. Right? This tends to happen a lot, right? So we're currently technically in a range. Okay, but if you right now look deeper into it, right? So we had a hourly shift even from there, right? Then the market went ahead and responded from this little demand right here. So it responded, then it broke. And then at that time, I was bearish bias. And we actually, me and the whole community, we were taking shorts from right there, which I'm going to I'm going to show you. Unfortunately, we got banked, right? The market pushed very nicely into the highs. And the potentially went into to tap inside this what to say, like supply, buy to sell, order block, whatever you'd like to call it. This is kind of the extreme right there that actually went ahead and broke the structure to the downside. And yeah, it responded, then it pushed lower. Then I was looking at this demand to hold, but also this demand failed. So currently I'm a little bit, what is the market doing? Right, so it's slightly bit tricky even for me right now to determine what exactly is gonna happen. So again, what I'm simply going to do is I'm just going to wait, right? I'm just going to wait to evaluate what is happening, because again, right now we have this push. Yes, the 4-hour is shifting down, but the 4-hour is still kind of up, right? We haven't really broken any significant structure to the downside. And if you also have a look at what is happening on the left, so we had bullishness, bullishness, bullishness right there. So just because we wicked below right there doesn't mean anything, right? We still pushed up, pulled back. Oops. Disappeared, but still pushed up, pulled back, and right now we can hold as a higher low with this overall trend to continue pushing up towards 104. Okay, so again, I am 50-50 on euro. I'm definitely needing some more time, especially a couple of more 4-hourly candles to really show me where they want to go, right? But of course, I'm seeing that there are some sellers coming into the market, as we see some buyers on the Dixie. So I'm going to be curious to see whether this market is going to pull back, hold from this supply, and then continue to push lower, right? But I'm also very curious to see what's going to happen at the current price level that we are at, which is a very strong demand. Lots of liquidity has been taken. Right here, taken, responded. So if I go to the 50-minute structure, we have a little bit of a reversal pattern right there. But just look at the NFP flush, right? Is it manipulation to liquidate all of these flat lows right there, or is it just determining the trend right now? Well, this is what we're gonna see on Monday and Tuesday, right? This is why I hate trading on NFP and after NFP, because we have to give it some time to develop. So this is how I currently look at it, guys. Again, do not forget that we are trading in a range, right? So it's a low probability market, right? So wait for some clean signs to occur, and then of course after they occur, then we strike, right? Remember, we wait as patiently as snipers. Okay, so I want to quickly show you some of my trades. I'm not gonna lose a lot of time. I traded on Monday and on Thursday. Tuesday I wasn't on the charts at all. Wednesday I had a couple of misses. Thursday I traded, and then on Friday I didn't trade because it was NFP. Okay, so Monday's trade was a textbook long, right? So I was just following the overall flow of the market, pushed, responded from supply right there. Then we pull back. So this was a Frankfurt trade taken around 8:30, right? The market is tapping into my demand level. And then I just targeted, of course, the next high. A good idea would have been to target also the major highs or just to keep swinging the trade, but I want to be precise with my take profits. So I just took a 5R, right? And if I just show you the entry on the 1 minute, where is it? Yep, there it is. So there is our demand level right there. Liquidity has been taken as we push lower. The market first came in, but see how it responded. It responded in a very weak manner, right? And supply was still in control. Then we went ahead for another manipulation. We flipped the market right there, potential entry right here. Then this push was a confirmation for me that the market is actually reversing. So on the pullback, I took my trade from here, and as conservative as I want to be, I kept the big stop loss, which is 5 pips. Of course, a point of improvement could have been this 2.5, right? And yes, then the market pushed into the highs. I do think I took some partials right there, and then I closed my full TP at my target, which was this high, right? So right there. So that was my Monday's trade. A very good start of the week that I did not trade into New York. And then, yeah, Tuesday, there were some massive sells right there. So a lot of sells to be taken right here, which I missed. Then on Wednesday, I was looking for the longs right there to catch this move. I missed, right? So there was not an entry setup for me right there. I think there was, but I was a little bit greedy. No, there wasn't on Wednesday. There was on Thursday, because on Thursday, I really wanted to take a long right there. But I got my entry a little bit wrong. So on this is Thursday. I'm looking for longs, right? So why? Well, I have to do another top-down analysis. We break it down with the community in greatest details. But I was looking for longs from this guy right there. Then we pushed. Then we look for shorts again due to another thing, right? So this then became our 4-hourly supply, as I showed you. So this is why we shorted from right there. But in the morning there was a beautiful long. So let me show you the longs that I missed. So there was a long that I missed right there. We beautifully tapped into the demand, right? We took the liquidity. So we first pushed, we held from supply, so it was a little bit too early. Then we came in again. Then we actually broke, and then I wasn't fast enough to take it from there. Then on the push up, I didn't take it from there, but I wanted to take it from here, which I thought was the demand zone that actually caused the shift of structure. So I had my order just right there, right? But it missed. It tapped right here and provided a beautiful long, right? So that was a miss for me because I chose my entry area wrongly. And then the market came into supply on the left, which I don't have it right now. It first shifted, which tricked early sellers into the market, but have a look what we have right here. Very flat highs, so that must have been avoided, right? I had some members actually taking a short. They had a stop loss, but then of course we re-entered together. There is the liquidity grab, there is the real push. And the only disadvantage on this one is that it did not break the swing, which was the 5 and the 15-minute structure low right there. So we just shifted on the 1 minute. But then as the market was pulling back, I took my trade from here. Again, a nice stop loss. So it gave a reaction, but you can see that demand was in control. And then pushed, we had a stop loss on Thursday. But then on New York, there was a beautiful trade I took from my phone with low risk though. So I kind of went break even for the day. I think, it was a little loss because again, on my phone, I don't calculate my lot sizes very well. I just take a random one and just round it up, right? I actually got an alert where I wanted to enter from the morning. Remember what I told you? I wanted to enter from right there. So my alert got pinged and I'm like, okay, I would play a trade right there, but I was also looking at the bearishness and I thought, well, the market looks bearish. Again, at that time, I was bearish because there was that big 4-hourly zone right there, right? So what I did is I looked at this trade, I saw the shift, I saw the pullback, I took it from here. Stop loss was again big, 5 pips. And what I did is I was just managing it from the phone and I saw around 3.5 hour. Yeah, it's just 3.3. So I closed my trade right there for a full. No partials, just closed it fully right there. And then I started looking for shorts, but I was like, okay, well, the bullish pressure is quite good. So I think actually this went for a nice New York manipulation into the downside, and I was correct. Then the market actually carried on to massively push into the highs. So that would have been a huge trade, but I wasn't on my PC. I just took it randomly on the phone, so I closed it very fast. So yeah, that was a nice miss, but it kind of put me break even for the day. And then with the trade on Monday, it is an overall good week. Okay, so I promised to do more trade setups breakdown videos on YouTube because I don't want to do those on the weekly outlooks because this video is dedicated towards analysis and forecast, not breaking down my trades. So more of that is gonna come soon. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let's carry on with Euro Yen. We are seeing some nice bullishness on Euro Yen, which is really nice to see because again, as we mentioned in the last outlook, we are currently tapping in this very big demand zone, right? So this on the weekly time frame, if we go to the daily on the Forex, is going to be pretty big. But we're tapping very nicely inside, taking all the flat liquidity that is resting right there. And right now we have a very nice rejection candle, right? So the question is this a reversal, right? So are we having a reversal and then potentially head for a new high? Or of course, is it just a reaction from the demand later to start carrying on to the downside? Probably there is also something right there, a supply coming from top, which we can right now go on the daily and start exploring, right? So technically right now, what we have similarly on Euro USD, the daily is bearish, right? The market is tapping in a very deep level, right? So it went all the way down towards like this last candle right there. So there's probably something on the Forex right there, but we just stopped at the bottom of it, right? And right now we're pulling back. So definitely, although I see this beautiful rejection candle on the weekly, I don't think it's a reversal yet, right? Because look at that. So from the top, we pull back, tried to create a higher low, pushed, we kind of made it, but no, we just wicked above it, then we shifted, pull back, lower high, lower low. So currently, really, the flow is actually bearish on the euro yen, and we just might be having what's the name, a temporary pullback right now on the daily, which looks quite bullish, but it's probably just temporary, right? So be aware of that we're just reacting right now from this level, right? So we took all the flat liquidity right there, and usually what happens is you're gonna have a big reaction, but that doesn't mean we are turning bullish. Okay, so again, I just keep this daily zone right there, or weekly zone. We can of course try to refine it to like a daily or a 4-hourly range or something like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drop a big range, right? So let's put this, boom, drop a 50%. So currently we are just about to tag the 50%, right? So yeah, as we go above the 50%, then I'm gonna start looking how the market is gonna respond from these areas right here. And what I'm simply gonna do is wait for the 4-hourly to shift bearish. And if it doesn't shift bearish, then I'm gonna keep longing, right? It's very easy, guys. So right now, if you zoom in, what is happening? So usually when the market is about to reverse, it starts to compress a little bit, or it's gonna make an aggressive manipulation into the demand. So kind of we pull back, push, chop around, push one candle down, up, down. Then we have this sharp move lower, and then we push higher. So again, where is our last lower high? Well, this depends on how you actually look at it, right? I'm gonna take it as this one. In the community, we have specific rules regarding it. So this is our break, there is our pullback, and then the market starts turning into bullish market, right? So there is our demand zone. 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, and then we push, right? So currently we have a new structure break right there. Our new demand is, yeah, I'm gonna take it like a range again, like that. So as long as we are kind of staying above these kind of levels and we keep breaking structure higher, I am bullish on euro yen. So if we have this sort of pullback on market open, we hold, we shift on the 50-minute, then I will be looking to potentially drive the market towards 139. Right, 138 will be the first target because that is the first target above the 50%, right? But then of course I would love to see the market tap into this big red area. Okay, so currently the flow on euro yen is bullish, the 4-hourly is bullish. We know that this can be a potential daily pullback, so also being aware of the sells. But of course for day traders, we focus on what is in front of us, which is bullish price action. So let's try to go long on it. All right, let's have a look at the Aussies. Starting from AU, we're having a very nice bearish candle right there. It looks a little bit gapped up, so I'm not sure whether there was a gap, but we gapped up a little bit. Wicked into the highs very nicely, and right now we're forming a nice bearish candle. It's not an engulfing candle, but it's rather bearish. It's bigger than the previous one. So yeah, overall bearishness we have seen on AU. Although it was a little bit difficult to trade, right? I'm gonna show you why. So overall, we have this weekly push, and if you just draw our range, we can see that we have pulled back very nicely above 50%. So one of our first criteria in order to go short is a pullback above 50%. So we definitely have this, okay? Then transferring onto the daily, we can see that the market was really compressed right there, and it was getting compressed right here. But what we did is we collected everything that was compressed right there. So to the highest point, it was taken, right? And then we went to tag in something that is resting within this supply area, which we can see potentially on the 4H or on the 1H, right? But we're slowly coming in, tap first, rejected. Then we have this big wick on last Friday of previous week. Monday started with a nice push into the highs, creating the weekly high. Tuesday, massive bearish engulfing candle. And then we had the Wednesday and Thursday pulling back, and Friday continuation. So even on the daily, we can see that the Aussie dollar is actually shifting, right? It is actually shifting. So I'm kind of confident to say that I will be looking for shorts on the Aussie. Of course, we never know anything, right? I was looking for shorts even from right here, but the market kept breaking higher. So yes, but I really do like this. I joked about Miri last week, and she was pretty happy. So Miri, hopefully you're happy again. But I'm not sure whether this is a Wyckoff schematic right here. I'm not into them, but it kept driving into the highs in a very kind of corrective manner. And of course, as I said, there is Monday creating the weekly high, then shifting the structure lower, right? So then what we usually do is we're gonna drop our range for the market to pull back towards 50%. Like we first had this little pullback right there that it broke, but according to me, that was probably liquidity to trick people into selling from this guy. We saw how many people sold from right there only to get stopped out later. So the market stopped right here. There is nothing on the left. A lot of people might say that it's this guy. I see a lot of traders nowadays trading these fair value gaps, right? So probably that's it. Doesn't matter. From there we stopped lower high and we continued breaking lower, right? So there is a new lower low. So currently, where is our lower high? It's this sort of range. So my pretty simple analysis will be, I will be looking for a potential pullback. Lower high right there, I'm going to drop to my lower time frame, hourly 50-minute, wait for the shift, and then potentially start trading it lower, right? And of course, for targets right now, you can be utilizing all of these demand levels on the left, right? There is one, there is two, and of course, then the last target will be a potential lower low, which is way too far in time. Okay, so that's my analysis on AU. It looks pretty good. I'm not loving this area right there, but I'm loving the impulse. It really looks like that the Aussie was waiting for NFP as well, because we were pretty choppy, right, until NFP came out and we actually showed the true direction of the market. So hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's the true direction of the market, right? Let's see how Monday is going to open. But yeah, definitely a nice pullback will be nice, coming in towards this area and then taking a nice textbook short. Probably AJ is going to be different again due to the yen. A massive weekly candle on this one. It's probably more bullish than bearish, right? So we're tapping very nicely right there. We're filling in again the empty space right here, which is really good, taking this low as liquidity. So it's going to be probably again hard to analyze the yen pairs. But yeah, man, those yen pairs are always giving me a hard time. So pretty much all of this was arranged, and I believe I told you that this low right here, these flat lows failed to cause anything, so there are usually liquidity. It got taken, right? So right now we're responding from what is within the zone, right? Responding. But does that mean we're going to reverse? Well, no, right? Why? Because we have also supply coming from the top. And what looks like we're also trading in a little bit of a range. Okay, so daily, I'm a little bit confused, right? Weekly is bullish. Daily is right now showing me more bearish signs, right? So let's see what the 4-hourly has to say. Well, the 4-hourly currently, again, looking at that beautiful recovery right here. The 4-hourly, yes, the 4-hourly is currently just shifted to bullish right here. But yes, you can right now say that it's also shifted to bearish right now, and we're just holding from supply right here. So for the yen pair, for precisely this yen pair, I also think, I don't remember, let me double check. Yeah, Euro yen was bullish, right? Euro yen was bullish, having a little bit more space into the highs, right? So while AJ is just showing us right now a little bit of a sign of bearishness, but unlike EJ, it has already pulled back nicely above 50%, okay? So if you're trading this pair, it needs more time, right? I wouldn't short here because it's kind of the first sign, so we shifted the trend, right? So yes, you can be dropping right now on the 50-minute, waiting for the market to really show you the shift. I wouldn't personally trade against this massive bullishness, right? Because what can happen is just the market pull back and break higher, right? So I would need to see something more, but give it some time, right? Because what could happen is a new push, then the reverse shift, and then a continuation. What I would really love to see is a new lower low, pullback, and then a continuation, right? So, and there is the other example, and then we can reverse from here. Okay, so the JPY is, as usual, tricky right now. Tricky. So let's see what's going to happen. And of course, let me know your thoughts. I know there are a lot of JPY traders watching those videos. So let me know what you think of VJ, AJ, NJ, when it's going to come, UJ. So let's actually carry on because I'm curious to see how the other pairs are looking like. Well, as usual, the NZDs are going to be pretty much the same as the Aussies. We're having that same very nice bearish candle on the weekly time frame that got up a little bit. Nice wick on top, nice bearish body with a little wick on the bottom. But yeah, this is pretty much the price action of NFP, right? It pushed lower and it rejected. Okay. On the daily, what we can extract is that the market is pulling back towards some levels like this, right? And if we read it carefully, there is the last break, right? Then we have this wick pushed higher. So technically, it's a little bit hard to identify where is kind of the higher low. Is it this wick? Is it that wick? Right? This candle right there makes everything a little bit hard, right? But what I can see is that we saw that on AU, the daily shift is a bit cleaner, right, than this one. So if we just rely on correlation, we can say that the NZD is also some nicely shifting to the downside. Okay, and the 4-hourly is probably gonna say yes. So there is that last 4-hourly break just right there, right? And there is the lowest point, which got broken with that little wick. Then we shifted up a little bit. We pulled back very nicely into 50%, right? We broke above this high to utilize that liquidity, and then we pushed lower. Have we made a new lower low? No, we just formed perfectly, yeah, perfectly flat, perfectly equal lows. So yes, just looking at all that information, we can say that probably there is a high chance of this, the Aussie and the NZD market reversing. Again, not sure whether this is a workout, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then right now we'll start to push lower. So definitely this can be on the cards. Again, the question is, where do we sell from? Well, we have the same level as we have on the Aussie, which is this guy. But of course, we can right now push lower to confirm that bearishness. Then we can come back again, and then we can flush lower. Okay, so this is how I'm going to look at it. I'm going to leave it simple right now as it is like this. I am overall bearish on the NZD USD. So let's see what NJ is going to say. It's probably going to be a bit more bullish. Yep. Same price action, we're pulling back towards this extreme weekly demand, right? Filling in the empty space right there. So definitely a lot of bullishness is coming in from those levels, but we have the same, right? This is the major high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and right now we keep making new lower lows. So we just broke below it, and yes, we're having a beautiful reaction because we took a lot of liquidity, and this is like a hard time frame, right? So when we break such a hard time frame low, we usually tend to get a higher time frame reaction, right? So pretty much there is a potential supply zone that we can reach, depending on how we draw our range, whether it's from the top or from here. We are tapping right now 50%, right, which is great. So what we have to do right now is wait for a clean shift, and we have a similar situation like we have with AJ, right? So we have a little pullback right there that probably created a 4-hourly high. There we have the push lower for a trend change, and right now we're reacting from this supply. So again, same thing as AJ. I would like to see a confirmation like this because this can definitely happen, right? So this is my outlook for the NZDs. They both need some time. Of course, NZD USD looks a little bit more bearish, so let's see if we can have that pullback or if we're gonna break and then a pullback first. But overall, judging by the sentiment, I would say that I'm bearish on the Aussies, bearish on the NZDs. So let's see how the week is gonna open, and of course, if our forecast will be correct. Immediately after looking at the weekly chart of USD JPY, we can see what is causing that bullish pressure across the yen pairs, right? So USD JPY looks like it has pulled back nicely below 50%, right? And is overall tapping in this overall range, right? Which is the last sell before this big buy, okay? So again, the question is whether we're going to continue pushing towards a new high, or is it just a reaction? Are we going to reverse? Is the market extended? Well, we never know those things. So what we can only do is just, guess what? Follow the flow, right? So yes, overall weekly is bullish. We have pulled back very nicely. As I said, we have taken a little bit of liquidity below this low, which is great. So then dropping onto the daily, we can see that same thing, right? The daily kind of again had kind of a Wyckoff schematic. I see those things everywhere, although I don't understand them. And then we had this massive dump to the downside. So technically right now the daily is bearish, right? And this is our last daily lower high, which is gonna pose a lot of difficulties for the market to break above this zone. So I'm quite curious to see whether we're gonna break. But right now, looking at the daily price action, I'm pretty sure that the 4-hourly right now is bullish, okay? So all of these flat lows have been collected, massive bearishness right there, tapping into 131, which has been the round number that we're reacting from. And right now transferring this on the 4H, as I told you, we are having currently, well, we pretty much just had it, right? Because this is the highest point before the push, and the market looks like it was responding from this supply for quite some time, right? There is a first for early sellers, they took them out, second sellers, third sellers, then potentially there are fourth sellers right there, but all of them got stopped out. So this is probably a lot of liquidity generated. Everybody stopped out right now. But of course, this makes our structure bullish right now on the 4H. So what I'm really looking to do is right now follow the 4-hourly flow, because this is my main time frame. But I'm also aware that we have this daily zone right there from which we can either just create a bigger pullback or actually fully reverse. Okay, so very simply, USD yen is bullish, and as long as USD yen is bullish, for example, Euro yen, Aussie yen, NZD yen are gonna be also bullish as well. Okay, so pretty much my analysis will look something like this. I would like to see a pullback. Not precisely towards this guy. I'm always living to see 50% pullbacks and then just a simple shift, right? So there is our range right now. Maybe the market can actually just open and push higher. We never know. But if I'm looking at the market today, this is how I'm going to analyze it, okay? Currently at a high. If you wish, you can start taking counter trend trades, but you first need to see a real clean shift, which we don't have right now. So yes, this is my outlook on USD-Yen. It is overall bullish, right? But let's see how the market is going to open and what kind of opportunities we're going to have. And of course, stay tuned for Tuesday, where we can have something completely different happening. All right, let's have a look at the GBPs, starting from GU. Well, another very nice weekly bearish candle, right? So I do believe we marked out this zone right there from last week, and we took out the previous weekly high. We went very deeper inside the zone, and right now we're very nicely rejecting, which leaves us potential bearish signs, and of course, hint for potential continuation to the downside, okay? If of course the Dixie also reacts very nicely. So on the daily time frame, we were rather compressed. We had this massive pump into the zone, a little bit of a range right there on a Thursday. Then on Friday we had this big wick that is kind of a little bit hard to read. Then on Monday, it looks like we created the weekly high. Tuesday sell-off, Wednesday and Thursday consolidation, and then NFP confirms that overall bearish intention. What I don't like right now is that there are a lot of demand levels that we have to still fight. But of course, the 4-hourly structure right now on GU is shifting, okay? We went very deep inside the zone, almost at the top, right? And what we see is that we had a break of structure right here. And then, of course, our higher low is this one, which just got broken, right? So it was really 50-50 what the market is going to do, because we had this wick, right? The market tapped first, reacted, tapped second, reacted. But right now we have broken below it, which shifts my structure to bearish on the 4H. Okay, we're still tapping inside this daily demand zone, but the 4-hourly being bearish for me, this is what I'm currently going to focus on. Okay, I had a couple of questions about, so we had an interest rate increase on the pound this week, right? Yet the market flushed. Well, pretty much the increase has already been taken into account, right? And it is this pullback. And of course, we know that currently it's the US that is leading the game with their interest rate being the highest, right? So it doesn't make sense for the pound to actually push higher. And of course, if it was that simple for the banks to raise the rates and they just take a long and win, well, it would have been too easy, right? So you also have to be aware of where the market is currently trading at, and then you have to combine the fundamentals with the technicals, right? You don't want to take a long after the market is tapping weekly and daily supply and is already kind of shifting to the downside, right? So technically right now, as I said, the market is bearish. I'm going to take this as my range for potential shorts. The market just pushed, created a new lower low. We're probably going to be having a reaction because we're again tapping inside this daily zone. We're taking some liquidity below these lows, right? So the market is already kind of giving us this response. So what I'm going to be looking for is for a nice corrective price action towards this level and then a potential sell-off. So as simple as that, this is how I'm going to be looking at GU coming into Monday. A very simple analysis. So let's not try to overcomplicate it. And of course, stay tuned for Tuesday because we can have something completely different, right? As the market opens, we might gap down right there. We might break this structure above. So everything tends to change on a daily basis. And this is why the real skill is, as I keep saying, is to flow with the market and not get married to an analysis, to a bias, or to a forecast, right? So GJ is probably more bullish than bearish. We are once again tapping inside this major weekly demand, which we have been testing once, 2 times, right now 3 times, but this time we broke below both times right there, right? So we're having this very nice rejection candle, but knowing that the pound is kind of weak right now, again, we have the same thing, right? So we have this high that just got taken, high, low, failure to make, so we just kind of get compressed right there. So we just wick below, right? And currently, yeah, this pair is really hard to read right now. If you're not just intraday trading this, just catching the momentum, it is a bit hard to determine like what the real bias is, right? So we just took liquidity below these lows. We're right now pulling back. Probably this high right here will get attacked, right? I see it's also part of this high. No, it's not, right? So this one can potentially be liquidity because it hasn't broken anything. And if I jump to the 4H, well, it is a bit 50-50 once again, right? So we actually spiked above this level. We have collected some liquidity and the market is right now creating this 4-hourly shift. and again staying in this supply. Okay, so we have the same precise situation we have on Aussie JPY and NZD JPY. It was only Euro JPY that was a bit different, right? So what I need to see is a confirmation to the downside and then a sell-off, right? Because what could happen is we can hold, take liquidity, tap inside this major level right there, oops, and then potentially reverse. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, so this is how I'm gonna look at Euro Yen, right? According to me, the yen pairs need a little bit time to see how USD Yen is gonna develop and how, of course, all the yen pairs are gonna react to that development. But this is my analysis for GBP Yen right now. If you wish to get confirmation, go to an hourly or to a 50-minute time frame and really wait to see the shift, because currently your higher low is this, right? And until this is broken, you cannot short the market. Well, of course, if you have rules, you can short it, but what could happen is we can have a high, then a low, and then if it holds, then you can short, right? So let's see, of course, if you're feeling risky, you can attempt to take a short from here. The market is already above 50%, which is great, right? Some liquidity also has been gathered, which is a good point and a good confluence. So let's see what's gonna happen with GBP Yen, but also GU is rather bearish. So hopefully both of those go south. Euro GBP, I'm just not gonna have a look at this. I never understand this pair, but yeah, it looks like the euro is stronger, right? So we're currently pulling back within this daily range. Probably wants to come in and retest the zone, which is sitting in right there. The hourly has nicely shifted bullish. So again, this only tells me that the pound is weaker than the euro. Yeah, so the weaker is stronger than the pound, which of course does not help me much because I don't trade the pound, right? So yes, overall bearishness on the GBPs. Let's see how the week is gonna open. And once again, stay tuned for Tuesday when we're gonna have a nice update. All right, let's have a quick look at Goldie. On the weekly time frame, we have nicely pulled back above 50%. We're tapping into the supply. We're tapping into, okay, almost into 1800s. So I'm very curious to see what is gonna happen next. If the DXY starts to appreciate in value, right? So gold is potentially gonna flush, okay? I really like that all of the price action was almost balanced right there, kind of that this is the impulse. So right now the market is pulling back to rebalance that impulse and we're already rejecting, okay? So what I will need to see right now is the shift. I will need to see the flow change on gold. Right now we're having a break of this high, which means that this is our daily zone right there that we first need to break in order to say that the daily is also bearish, and probably the flow is the same. Yes, so currently the flow is still bullish, sorry. Hopefully none of you actually took this push as a sell signal to then try to sell from here, because this is just the first step into the zone. And when you have such an empty space right there, the market is gonna cook. The market is gonna come in, cook for a little bit, stop out a couple of traders before actually it reverses, okay? So my analysis is very simple on this one. Keep following the flow until you're wrong, right? So right now it's bullish. You can be even looking to take longs, right? Because we can have another run, then the market is gonna fail, then retest lower high, and then can flush, okay? So just to say, as long as the market is staying above this zone right here, I am still bullish. But of course, right now we're tapping into a very nice area. Maybe 1800 can be a nice level to tap as well. We have this little indecision right here candle that we can tap as well to just refine to a little bit within this big zone. But yes, gold is getting into a very major area. The DXY is showing us bullish signs. So if everything plays out as expected, then gold should start moving down. Should, this is a word that you should not use, right? So of course, let's just see how the market goes. And of course, guys, I would always appreciate your feedback on gold. I always love reading your comments, detailed comments about gold, because some of you know the pair very well. Personally, this is how I look into it. For me, it's still bullish, right? So right now, I need to see first a clean bearish shift before I start shorting this one, right? So let me know what you think. Do we go down? Do we continue going up? Let me know. Let's have a look at the indices and also some cryptos. So not a big week for the indices. NFP is over right now, so hopefully they're gonna start moving next week. But right now we are just tapping into a very important supply zone on the weekly. Okay, I'm not sure whether, yeah, it's not visible on the monthly, but on the weekly it is the last lower high before the break. Okay, so we're tapping inside. It's a major zone for US 30. right? First we pull back, try to push lower, we failed, then we introduce this bullish push, and right now we have just an indecision candle on the weekly. You can see that we did not do much, right? So there is just the open, then we have a sell-off, buy, indecision, indecision. So it's definitely waiting for something. I personally think we're gonna have another spike into the highs, right? I currently think it's forming probably another whack-off schematic, probably. I really have to learn those because I start seeing kind of this pattern across some of the pairs as well. I do think we need to grab a little bit more liquidity, at least a spike above 33, not to say 33.10 right there to take out this high, right? Or at least take out that most recent high that we have. Because currently you can start looking at price and you can say, okay, so we have a break of the high, then we have a break of the low. This one also failed, right? So you can start shorting already, right? You can already start shorting, but personally, I think it's a bit too early, right? We can see that the market hasn't really broken the swing again, right there. So I am looking for something more. Personally, I would like to see another liquidity gap into the highs, another push to trigger more buyers, right? And then to see the real reversal with momentum, right? Currently, we do not have momentum. We had a sell-off, massive buy. We have a sell-off, buy again, okay? So currently we're consolidating, we're distributing, we're accumulating right now for the next move. So guys, be patient, right? For the indices traders, be patient because we're sitting at a very major level, especially on US 30, right? So I'm giving it some time. That is pretty much my analysis. We're at the major zone, so I am looking for signs, okay? I'm not rushing into anything. Nasdaq is also tapping into a zone, right? It kind of broke this weekly zone right there. We're just pulling back a little bit deeper, right? But if I draw this overall range, where was the last clean pullback, we are just tapping above 50% and we're starting to reject a little bit, right? On the daily, there is that zone that we're currently tapping inside, and again this instrument is overall bullish because we have also the tech stocks recovering very nicely. So for how long is this gonna be, I don't know, right? But technically right now the market is bullish, and we also have this last daily demand that we just formed. So going on to the 4H, we can see that actually the Nasdaq moved very nicely bullish right there, then it pushed up, sold off, but we are still bullish, right? There is a complete empty space right there, so everything is imbalanced right there. So probably we are gonna need more liquidity to grab. So again, guys, wait, right? Wait for the major swing to break, or just wait for the market to start trending down before we start shorting. Don't try to catch the top. It's really not worth it, okay? So nothing more to say. I will be looking for a daily shift because I'm more or less just swing trading those instruments. So I'm looking for a daily shift in order to confirm a shift in the flow, right? So this is what I'm looking for. I would expect maybe another push into the highs, then a break. So then if this starts happening, then I'm gonna be shorting, okay? So be patient. And also S&P didn't make much of a development. Similarly to US 30, it is tapping into this major supply, right? Of course, if I just come on, I want to grab the fib. If I just take my fib, we can see that even in the overall range, we are also tapping the 50%. So this is quite well. And if I just quickly shift to my fear and greed index, did I shift? No. Okay, there we go. We are just tapping the 50. We're just tapping the equilibrium. And also the market is just kissing the 125-day moving average. So right now it's the time for us to reject. Okay, we just got into equilibrium of the fear and greed index, right? So right now we might start falling down. Maybe we can push a little bit into greed to maybe make some traders think we are actually reversing. But yes, again, I really don't know what to say. This is the first real kind of bear market that I'm experiencing. As I have more knowledge right now and as I have bigger investments, I have to be more careful with what is happening. So I'm learning still right now, right? Okay. So yeah, on the daily, we're tapping in right there. The daily is too bullish. We just had this bullish break of structure right there, which means that we also have demand level formed. Oops, let me just drop it like this. There is our demand. And if we transfer this on the 4H, again, the market is too bullish, probably once again forming that whack off, push, final push. But again, I need to see the shift, okay? Now, S&P has definitely taken some liquid on the left, which I really like. So if this one starts giving me bearish shifts right now, I will be ready to short. And of course, keep buying at all of these lows right there for my investments, okay? So that is, those are the indices. They didn't develop as much apart from Nasdaq that made a nice push into the highs. So again, it's very key right now to wait and see what is gonna happen as the month starts to develop, okay? Some cryptos, Bitcoin is pulling back towards the daily demand zone, right? It hasn't breached it yet. We just had a little bit of a daily bullishness right there. I do believe we're going to have another leg lower before we actually move, because all of that move right there is pretty empty. It's just one candle. So I do believe we can have a deeper push, then start shifting, and then potentially continue going higher. Okay, so don't get too excited, right? I do think we still have more downside. 22 can get tapped, not to say around 21, right? 21.50. So I'm seeing more downside on Bitcoin, right? Currently also the flow is also bearish, right? So if you are trading those, I do think shorts right now are high probability until we start reaching around the middle of this big box, right? And Ethereum is kind of slightly bit different, right? It's more bullish, right? We have this big bullish push right there. But in the overall daily range, did we tap 50%? I think we just kissed it. Yeah, we just kissed the 50% and responded. So of course, two things can happen. We can right now use these lows for liquidity to pull back deeper and then to push. Or of course, just looking at the flow on this market, it's slightly hard to find my major lower high. Yeah, it's probably this one, but it's probably that one as well. So yeah, overall what we're doing right now is kind of in a range, but the flow is overall bullish, but I wouldn't touch this pair right now just because, as you saw me right there, I doubted for a second, and I have a very good self-awareness is that when I doubt and when I just can't figure it out, I know that it's a good time to step aside and actually not trade that pair. Okay, so I'm leaving this one be. I'm not touching crypto. I have lost all of my money right now with that Celsius thing, right? So I'm slightly bit sad, but of course we're gonna make it back again, hopefully sometime. But yes, so I'm kind of having that little pain with crypto right now, so I really don't want to look at it until everything gets resolved. But yes, Bitcoin looks a bit better, so let's see how Bitcoin and Ethereum are gonna play out. But my main focus goes on the indices. Okay. So guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed the analysis. Hopefully you got something from it. Let me know if you did. Please comment. I really love seeing your comments. This actually keeps me pushing, seeing that the videos are valuable, that you keep finding knowledge from every single one, and that you're actually becoming profitable. You're having success in that market. This is really inspiring for me to hear, right? So thank you so much again, and see you on Tuesday. Have a relaxing weekend, and let's crush it for a brand new month.